It's gonna do it now.
Hopefully it works.
Or it's gonna be a pain in my ass.
Oh no, it's live. I just got a notification.
Is it? Is it actually live?
Mm-hmm.
I. Why can I not see it? I can't see it at all.
That's weird.
Okay, there we go. Now I can see it.
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say I'm watching it
Oh,
and
I
Angel's on it.
also I just also realized I have to. I'm gonna walk away for just 1 sec. Okay, that was fixed. Hate how creaky my floor is. Ugh, I apologize. And hello there.
Listen, it's an old floor.
Yeah, it's a very old floor. It's a very old floor, which needs to get fixed, honestly, like everything else.
The sheriff is falling asleep.
Well, I'm glad he's falling asleep. I
So
don't
how
need
are
to.
you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. I'm just getting to start sharing. Sharing, I got a few
Okay.
cryptids, and I had an idea. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna name
and
them off.
again, I'm sorry for
Yes, I
not
know.
looking at
I know you
them.
did. I know you did your homework, like I asked.
I was
Woe
busy.
is me.
I was busy. I can't help it.
I know you were busy. I know, but I'm gonna act like there's no excuse.
Oh, you son of a.
I'm teasing. I'm joking. Okay, but all serious, I'm gonna do a thing to where I will list off 3 cryptids, and I want you to pick which one you want to talk about. Once I'm done sharing myself around, I'll name them off. But so, what else have you been up to? I know you've been dog sitting. How? So, anything happened that interesting you didn't tell me about?
Um, well, I've been spending a bit of time with my friends.
Well, I know that. I know that.
um, I don't really know what else besides puppy sitting and doing that.
Alrighty. Well, I'm just sharing myself around, so this usually takes just about a few minutes because I gotta do it all manually. Then we'll get into the whole cryptids once I'm done sharing. How
I
many?
just had to plug in my headset, and all I heard in my ear was some British lady going, "Battery low."
Some British lady. You have a
Yes,
British
some
lady living in your
British
phone? I have like
lady.
an animatronic lady living in my phone. my
It sounded like a little British elderly woman saying, "Battery low."
Oh, dearie, you need to change your batteries.
That's almost what she sounded like. How did you know?
You said
My
British old
god.
lady. That's what I guessed.
True.
I guessed that from just that.
But yeah, I just plugged in my headset.
So
So
we're just
hopefully
giving
it
it
works.
a stream of a few minutes. Had a little technical difficulty at first, which I'm hoping is not going to be a recurring theme for every single stream I do.
Hopefully not. Pain in the butt to be dealing with every time.
Well, yeah, I know, but it wouldn't be streaming if it wasn't scuff. You may hear a manager here and there. Which, speaking of, she's still in the kitchen.
She's still by the oven.
Yeah, I think there's a little mouse in there. She's like,
Does he
I know
surprise
there's a
you?
gremlin. I know there's a mouse.
She's like, Jerry, I hear you. Get your butt out of here right now.
I mean, those two have quite the rivalry. I can't speak to that. I'm promoting everywhere I can. How many freaking discords did I join again? My god, I have a lot. So we'll get into this here in just a second. But, so, how about this as we're doing this? So, what do you think? Which ones do you think I'm gonna have on my list so far?
I have a feeling you're probably gonna have Mothman.
I mean, I could, but he wasn't initially on the list. But I mean,
Okay,
he's the
well,
most popular.
I
But
guess.
we could talk. Well, I know, but we can't talk about the Mothman.
Um, Trying to think of other ones. Maybe Wendigo.
We could talk about that one too, but no,
I
I
don't
could
know
tell you.
what one you have then.
All right. Would you like me to tell you? Since I mean, we're
Yes,
just getting
please.
started. I'm just sharing this around. So, of the list so far, I have the Michigan Dog Man, the Goat Man, and the Jersey Devil. Those are the
Why
top
didn't I
three.
guess the Jersey Devil? I literally was gonna say that next.
It's okay. You just didn't think about it. So, out of the three, which one do you think we should start with?
Um, the first one sounded interesting.
The
I
Michigan
don't
Dog
think I've
Man?
ever heard of it.
All right. I'll give you a quick description of what well, I almost said Jersey, what the Michigan Dog Man is. I'm kind of confused. I also need coffee. I also got off work. Don't judge me. But
We're
anywho,
both half asleep.
it's fine. Now, all right. The Michigan Dog Man is described to look like a werewolf or a Sasquatch.
It's different.
Yes, it is very different. And it's a legend. Like the interesting thing is about the Michigan Dog Man is there's actually a song to it. Now I don't know
There's a
how.
song.
Yeah, there's actually a song of
Hmm.
the Michigan Dog Man. I'll have to send it to you. But
I'm looking at pictures of it now. It looks like the
mhm.
classic werewolf you'd
Yeah,
think
it
of.
looks like a werewolf. And the interesting thing is like he decided to do like the Dog Man for Halloween, which pretty much started how this guy got into it. I can look up the whole story, but I'll just give you the brief rundown from what I remember. And
Hmm.
he started this off for like a Halloween special, and he made a song. It was literally called "The Dog Man," and he started talking about all these situations, what the creature looked like, and how all these terrifying things were happening. And then, because he just did it as a one-off, he didn't even think anything of it. His radio station started getting flooded with phone calls saying they saw that creature.
Isn't that just terrifying to hear? You're just making a song, next thing you know, people's calling you saying,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
can
I've
you
seen that.
yeah like can you imagine that? Like they literally getting an abundance of calls and all just saying they spotted that very same creature. Like it's a werewolf-like creature. It's it's very popular actually. Believe it or not. Actually, the funny thing is, like for my area, I decided to do a funny Google search. I wanted to see dogman sightings in my area, and there was actually like over
Hmm.
1,000 reports. Apparently,
Really?
yeah, because apparently he's up in these areas too. He also apparently in Canada, but then again, people also seem to think it's possibly a Sasquatch sighting too.
I was gonna say, I've never heard of it until now. I know about the Sasquatch, but I didn't think that would be here. Like the
Yeah,
Michigan Dog Man.
yeah. Apparently, a lot of people are saying that they like some cryptozoologists believe that the dogman could even possibly be mistaken for Bigfoot, in
I mean,
which
I can see the resemblance since they're so
I mean,
tall
in a
and
way, yeah,
furry.
yeah. But I mean, the thing is with the dogman, he literally looks like the classical werewolf.
Yeah.
or I should say, more like the modern, not the classical, because I mean the Wolfman and that don't look. Because I mean, if we're gonna talk about like mythologies of werewolves, they were just people who turned into wolves. There's legends of the wolf bell, but that's not like really what we're talking about. Because I can go
No.
into a whole side tangent on that.
Yeah, I
But
can't imagine getting phone calls, especially if you're just doing your everyday normal and all of a sudden your phone is like blowing up with phone calls and just, oh my god. No,
like
I
it's
wouldn't be
a
able to
very
handle that.
yeah, no, it's a very interesting thing. The other thing too about the whole, like, I'm gonna look something up real quick about it because there's actually still sightings today of the Michigan Dogman.
Looking up pictures of like sighting wise.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Unfortunately, there's also like a lot of AI photos
Yeah,
too that are being thrown in there too, which
I
is
mean, that
making it
doesn't
hard.
surprise me.
Yeah, because I can just give you like a quick overview. The Michigan Dogman is a legendary 7 foot tall dog like creature with a human torso. The Dogman is said to appear in a 10-year cycle on years ending in the seven. Sightings have been reported throughout Michigan, especially in the northwest lower peninsula. Now, now that's kind of interesting because now this is sounding more and more like werewolf territory. Because there's
That
like
really do sound like that.
because I mean, like honestly, that the whole seventh thing of like coming out every seven. Because there's a lot of werewolf legends with the seventh son being cursed to be a werewolf for like 7 years.
Yeah, this seems to be the go-to. Like,
So
I don't
essentially,
know what would be the term for that.
like Camper 3, like there's just so many because it's hard to say whether or not this would be actually like people would classify it maybe as a werewolf. I mean, like
Hmm.
you have so many different variants of the werewolf. Like for example, like just another word of saying it, like lycanthropy or lycanthrope or the rougarou.
I remember you telling me about that one.
Yeah, like there's many different interpretations. Like werewolves in general are just very interesting, and I think that's also what kind of fuels a lot of the whole Dogman sightings too. Is like werewolf because I mean, like look how popular werewolves are.
Yeah, they are, or I should say, they've been popular since I want to say like
For a very long time. I mean,
I was
people.
gonna guess a date, but I can't really think. It's
Uh,
been a long type
like
of
they've
like
been popular for a
time
very,
span.
very long time, like several hundreds of years actually. Like many legends depict werewolves. Many like they just have a lot. Like it's just interesting that the Dogman ties into so many werewolf legends. And I only read just a little bit of the Dogman. Like legend origin. The first reported sighting was in 1887 in Wexford County
Jeez.
by two lumberjacks.
Oh my god. That's
Yeah,
a long time.
yeah, like these sightings go way back. And the interesting is that's the first reported sighting.
Yeah, God only knows how long that creature's been around. Could have been around way before that.
Yeah, and the legend gained popularity in 1987 after a radio DJ recorded a song about the Dogman as an April Fool's Day prank. So it wasn't a Halloween thing, it was an April Fool's Day prank, but I was close. Couldn't quite remember. Yeah. Yeah, the song inspired many believers too. Like there's been
Oh
like many
God.
like you could find many hoax. Like there was like this hoax video. A lot of people actually weren't even sure if it was real or not.
Like, I'm trying to find the song. Obviously, I'm going to listen to it later, but
I mean, I could pull up the song and just be quiet. I don't know how well it would play through.
well, I
Would
don't
you?
know if you'd get the copyright because of it.
Yeah, that's true. Probably best not to play it. Play it on stream.
That's why I was trying to find it for later.
Yeah,
But
but
like, that's a long time for a cryptic.
well, I mean, cryptids are like legends. I mean, it's like any mythological creature. Honestly,
That
it's
is
like there's
true.
myths and legends. I mean, like the list goes on and on. Like I'm just reading more of this. Sightings have been reported in Allegheny, Mainsty, and Cross Village counties. Some people claim to have seen the dogman stare into their windows at night. Others claim to have heard the dogman's howl, which sounds like a human scream.
I would not want to be hearing that in the middle of the night.
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of animals that have very terrifying howls and yowls. Like, I know that a mountain lion's, like, cries can sound like a human woman screaming.
Yeah,
And
that's
just,
like with a few animals. They can sound like humans,
oh yeah,
which
but
is
I mean,
oddly just terrifying in
like,
general.
I just find this stuff fascinating. I don't find it, like, okay, there's gotta be more evidence, and unfortunately it's like, and the thing that's really getting bad with this is with AI, because AI is making the water very muddy right now with these things, because there's so many AI generated that people are thinking are actually real because it's starting to get more and more realistic.
Yeah, which is another thing that I hate, especially when you go to look up certain things.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is a very, like, the very interesting topic, an interesting legend. Like, I want to see if there's anything more about it.
I just found something. I don't know if you've seen it, but it says that Ohio has the highest number of dogman sightings with a total of 17 reports.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, like, a lot of people report, but there's also this too, which is very true. The dog man may be misidentification of another animal, such as a bear.
Yeah, that could be another thing they get mixed up too, because especially if bears, because I mean, they can stand on their hind legs.
Yeah, I mean they can. I mean, like, have you ever seen a bear with mange or completely hairless?
I've seen a hairless bear, like pictures wise, and honestly, it's not very pleasant to the eye.
No, it is not. But like, just imagine seeing something like that standing up upright. Because not to mention, like, the human mind, when it's in a panic, it can play tricks on you.
Yeah, 100%. It's like another thing I'm seeing here, apparently. Now, I don't know how true this is because, well, it's Google. This is in Paris of 1970, no, 1937, sorry. Robert Fortney was attacked by a pack of wild dogs, one which he said walked on two legs.
Oh yeah, werewolf sightings like that are interesting. It's why I find the Dogman interesting. But I think we're gonna wrap up the Dogman talk for a little bit. We're actually gonna move on to the next cryptid. All right. Since we did that,
Okie
all right. Which one would you like to talk about now?
Um, I guess the goat man.
Alrighty. The Goat Man. Now, the Goat Man's pretty interesting. There's actually multiple different legends of the Goat Man. There's actually a bridge called Goat Man Bridge.
I remember watching a video on that.
Yeah, I
Not
was
really
watching a
pleasant
video.
to see at night.
No, it's like a creepy bridge. But yeah, like essentially there's like several different stories. Like some think the goat man is like like basically a demonic entity. Some think it's like a science entity. Some think it's like a serial killer. Like it
I know
really is
there's some
interesting.
people that thinks it's related to Satanism.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, the goat's always linked to Satanism for some reason
Yeah.
because of the whole scapegoat. Which I'm gonna go on a little side tangent because that's actually the whole thing with scapegoat and the goat actually started from the Greek word scapegoat, like literally in Greek mythology, and then it just kind of went with the whole thing of Azazel.
But
Yeah, I know a lot.
I know now it makes me feel bad for not doing my homework.
You're fine. Oh, you're fine, but I'll read a bit of the Goat Man. The Goat Man is a legendary creature that is part goat and part human. Well, no shit, it's called Goat Man. It's not a superhero. That's basically. Can you imagine a superhero being called Goat Man?
No, I can't. I would be a weird superhero name.
I mean, come on. I mean, like, it'd be an awesome superhero. I mean, like, he's just a goat. But yeah, there are multiple stories about the Goat Man, Maryland. Get hello there. Thank you for showing up. How are you? Oh, we're just basically on fall setting, and we're talking about cryptids at the moment in Georgia. Well, yeah, they have like a lot of Goat Man. Like, there's just so many. Goat Man in
That's
Maryland.
like another thing. Apparently, they're 7 feet tall. Like,
Well,
jeez.
what are you talking about, the Dog Man or Goat Man now?
Goat man. At least that's what I'm seeing while I'm trying to read about it.
Yeah,
Now, I might be wrong.
yeah. We're just talking about cryptids while hanging out on Fallout 76, which is kind of the one game that has cryptids in it mainly.
Yeah, I don't really know, like,
We're talking
games
about
that has
specifically
cryptids.
the Goat Man right now. We just got done talking about Dog Man. Like honestly, I want to go to Goatman Bridge someday and just yell out to the Goatman. I want to fist fight him. I challenge him on
God,
his
I'm
goddamn bridge.
sorry, but that doesn't surprise me with you.
Look, I will fight a Goatman.
Yeah, and I would be cowering in fear.
Oh, it'd be fine. The Goatman is said to live in the woods of, of Prince George's County, Maryland. Eyewitnesses in 1970 reported seeing a massive hairy entity that could walk upright and run on all fours. Yes, F-76. And just kind of using it as background as we talk about this because it's kind of like this is kind of like a you can listen, you don't really need to pay attention to the game, and it's just kind of unwinding.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little background setting for the video.
Oh, and here we go. The Goat Man is said to stalk backwards and bridge like back roads. I don't know why I said that. I'm just so tired today. But
Okay.
back roads and bridges to attack passing cars. Can you imagine that the Goat Man's just like waiting behind a bush for a passing car and just to beat the shit out of the car?
I'm sorry, but the way you said that made it sound so funny. It made it sound terrifying. It's like him waiting. When is
I,
my next victim coming, I wonder?
I mean,
It's in the car.
I'm just picturing this Goat Man sitting there, just waiting on the side of the road, like the next fucking car, man, the next fucking car. I'm gonna fuck it up. I'm gonna fuck this thing up.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna fuck it up.
I mean, I wouldn't blame him if it was near the bridge either, if it is his bridge. if you want to consider it his bridge. But yeah, I would not want to deal with that at nighttime either. That sounds
Yeah,
too
and
sketchy for
and
me.
and that's just the Goat Man of Maryland. Like, there's a few different ones. Like I said, the Goat Man in Kentucky. The Goat Man, also known as the Pope Lick Monster. What? I'm sorry,
What?
excuse me?
What?
The Pope Lick Monster.
Come again?
Yeah.
Huh?
I don't know. It literally says lick. Okay, well, I ain't gonna question. He said to live under the railroad. Crystal Bridge in Louis, Kentucky. Oh, I can't read today. The Goat Man is said to use hypnosis, voice mimicry to lure victims onto the.
Oh,
Like,
jeez. That sounds worse than one in Maryland.
yes, that this Goat Man has the powers of Dracula. Because Dracula also has the power of hypnosis and mimicry.
I was gonna say more like a, well, for the mimicry, for like Wendigos.
Well, I mean, Wendigos and Skinwalkers also have
Yeah.
that, like, mimicry. Like, it's so interesting. Like, these ones are just like they have mimicry, but the Goat Man is freaking. He's just like waiting to beat the shit out of some car.
Yeah.
Maryland, like, oh.
Just like you have the one that does mimicking and hypnosis, and then you have the one that wants to box people to death.
Well, more like just beat the crap out of cars. Like, he just. I
Well,
mean, you know what? That's
yeah.
probably why he's an evil spirit. Like, he just doesn't like technology, and whenever he sees technology, he just hates it.
He's just like, oh no, how dare you, and just
uh,
destroys.
yeah.
God.
Like, there's just so many of it. It's just so interesting. Like, between every single cryptid I've heard of, I think the Goat Man, well, at least to me, I think the Goat Man is just more of an amusing thing and just kind of funny.
Yeah. It's more like you don't really, I don't know, especially the fact that like Kentucky has a different name for it too.
I mean, honestly, like I said, maybe I need to go to each of these states, challenge each of these goatmen to a boxing match.
God.
I think it would go fine.
Even though I don't want to, I think I'll just stay here. And you
Oh,
can't
come
drag
on.
me because I swear to God.
Look, look, look. I'm just gonna say we're going on a field trip.
Great. I'm gonna be just sitting in the car,
Look, you
just
can play. Like,
terrified in fear, and you're just
yeah.
gonna be out there boxing a fucking goat man. And I'm gonna have to record it because somebody's gonna want it recorded.
I mean, this is just more goofiness, but
I know.
all right. But all right. So you want to talk about the Jersey Devil now?
Sure.
'Cause this one's one of my more favorite cryptids. And then we could basically pick some other cryptids to talk about.
Okie dokie.
Ah, the Jersey Devil. Now, this creature is like interesting looking. Like, it's supposed to have the head of a goat, the wings like a dragon or a bat, like stands upright, tiny little arms. Like, it's so interesting. Like, let me actually send you a quick picture of what the descriptions make it look like. I'm gonna send you a picture, and you're gonna tell me what you think of this.
Oh God. That's disturbing.
I know.
Jeez. Okay.
Yep. And the
Um.
legend, there's many variations of the legend. Like, basically, it's always with Mother Leeds' 13th child.
Jeez.
The popular legend of the Jersey Devil or Leeds Devil.
The manager.
It's
She's
fine.
like, I don't like this.
It's okay. We'll go into an intermission here after this. All right, where was I? The popular legend of the Jersey Devil or Leeds Devil is dated variously and attached to various places, names such as the Pines, Pine Barrens, or Leeds Point. The Devil's mother is sometimes called a woman named Leeds or Mother Leeds, or I'm not even trying. But other names such as Shrouds have been forwarded according to one in 1935. Oh, and I like that. I can't speak. I'm reading too far. All right. 1735. A woman named Leeds was giving birth to her 13th child and exclaimed, "Let the child be the devil's child." Though the born normally immediately grew wings, tail, claws, and flew out to the Pine Barrens. According to some, the child transformed into a creature with hooves and a goat's head, bat wings, and forked tail. Growling and screaming, the child, uh, the child beat. Oh, okay. So child beat everyone. Well, it's like for whoa, that's a strong ass child. Child beat everyone with its tail before flying up the chimney and heading into the pines. In some versions of the tale, Mother Leeds was supposedly a witch, and the child's father, the devil himself. Some version of the legend state the local clergyman subsequently attempted to exorcise the creature from the Pine Barrens. There's just like so many legends of this, and I can't read today, and I apologize.
I that oh, I never knew like the background story about the Jersey Devil, but now hearing that, I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, I feel like what's
Eh,
happening right now with this conversation is like I'm just telling you about these cryptids that I'm reading about them, and you're like, oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know about some, but like, jeez, my God. Especially like, I mean, I know 13 is usually the known number to be like
Yeah, like Friday the
bad
13th.
luck
Yeah,
or
bad luck or
evil.
evil omens. I
Yeah,
mean,
jeez.
yeah, I'm not gonna
Like,
go into like super detail, but there's just so many
mhm.
versions of that legend, and it's interesting because I know they at one point there was actually a bounty for the creature. Cause it was,
Really?
yeah, like it was causing so much of a stir, they actually had a bounty for it.
Oof. I can't imagine going to hunt for that thing.
I mean, there's many cryptid hunters that actually go out and still hunt for that thing. Actually,
Really?
yeah, a lot of people actually go out into the forest trying to find proof of these creatures.
I was gonna say it sounds fun, but I don't want to get my ass kicked.
I don't think it would be get your ass kicked. It'd be get your
Oh,
ass
I know.
beat, mauled, or beaten up. I mean,
I know, but but you knew what I meant. I
yeah.
just wouldn't, like, it sounds cool to do, but it also sounds like a risk to take.
Oh yeah, it is a risk to take. I mean, like going out into the woods is always a risk. I mean, if you don't know how to camp, you don't know how to set up or survive, you're kind of in for like a very bad time.
Well, that's like when I go camping, especially since like our cabin is like in the woods. It can be a bit terrifying at nighttime, especially hearing like all the animals outside.
Yeah, and I mean, like it's actually kind of interesting because, tell you the truth, I don't really hear too many stories. Like there's always like these creepy pastas that talk about skinwalkers and wendigos, but I don't really hear that many about the Jersey Devil. Like I
No,
hear
you
more stories
don't.
about like werewolves and dogmen than I do the Jersey Devil. However, I got to deal with my own little cryptid here in a second. All right, so do you think we need to take a little intermission?
Yeah, we can.
All right. We'll
Because
be
manager don't seem very happy.
no, she's not. So we'll be back in just a few. I'm gonna pause the stream. You guys get up, stretch your legs, get some coffee, get whatever you need. I will be right back in just a few. One. Alrighty. We are back, and Cloudy's having some technical difficulties. She'll be back with us here in a few moments. Are you able to join back with
I was gonna say, I'm still here. It's just my character got booted because I was idle for too long.
It's fine. I'm just talking to myself. It's fine.
You're not talking to yourself. I'm still here.
I know you're still here. But anyways, so so far, how are you feeling about these cryptid talks?
I mean, they're very interesting. I like the conversation of cryptics. I really do. But I am learning a few different things so far.
Yeah, it's actually one of those interesting. I don't know, man. I have to figure that out. I usually talk to myself normally. Just how I go. Hold on. Let me see if I'm even real. Yeah, I'm real.
Are you kidding me?
What?
Don't do that.
Don't do what?
No, don't go doing that.
Don't do what? Don't do what? I don't know what you're talking about. But welcome in tonight. How are you?
I am annoyed at you now because you smacked yourself.
I didn't smack myself. It was my hand.
I heard it. I'm not deaf.
Yeah, that was my hand. Like that. But anywho, welcome in. We're talking about cryptids. We just got done talking about Dogman, the Goat Man, and the Jersey Devil. Which Jersey Devil is one of my favorites. But we can talk about everybody's favorite, the Mothman.
Yeah, I brought that up.
I know you brought that up. So tell me, what do you know about the Mothman? Besides the Fallout 76 lore Mothman.
Well, I know there was I can't remember where it is exactly, so forgive
Point
me, but
West
I know.
Virginia, Point Pleasant.
Yes. But I know that there is a statue of the Mothman in one of the towns. I also know that I think maybe because of how everything went with the Mothman, people were basically leaving stuff at the statue so they wouldn't be basically,
Okay.
I guess you could say, haunted
All right.
by him.
All right. I'm actually going to talk about this because Mothman has some very interesting things going on. Because there's a lot of weird things going on around the same time. Because apparently, between Mothman sightings, there was also sightings of men in black who looked very strange, asking people random questions. Apparently, UFO sightings. There's
Also, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had a loud thump in the background. Everything is okay. It's just my cat being a menace.
That is fine. I also have a menace. She is not too thrilled of when I stream. But yeah, Mothman has a lot of interesting things. Besides the creature itself, some believe it's like a government cover up. Some believe it's an alien or a demon. Actually, you want to know something really interesting about the Mothman that not many people know? Originally, when the Mothman sighting started, they actually wanted to call it Batman. But because of DC Comics Batman, they couldn't because it was copyrighted. So they called it Mothman.
It's oddly weird and interesting.
Yeah, because a lot of people feel it looks more like a bat than it does a moth.
I mean,
Can you imagine that, like, like, them just calling it Batman, and people are just like, Batman has been sighted at Point Pleasant. I'm Batman.
Jesus Christ. No.
Oh my
Isn't
god.
there like a thing that people do within that town that like kind of celebrates it as well?
Oh yeah, it's a huge tourist attraction there. They have like a store, a museum. Like honestly, it's actually been a boon for that town. Like, cause actually the thing about cryptids is, which is a very interesting thing about them, is a lot like they're always in like these, you know, dead towns that really don't have a lot of revenue, but then these cryptid stories should come up, and then there's a bunch of people who are like, oh yeah, let's go visit, let's go be a tourist.
Yeah, because I thought I remembered hearing, or like when I was watching videos a long time ago, that basically there would be like festivals. And
Oh yeah,
I
there's
knew there was, I
festivals.
think,
There's a lot of things to it.
yeah.
Like I think because like a lot of people believe the Mothman is like he's not. Some people believe like he's not like an evil entity. He's just trying to warn people, which I don't know how. He's like just like like warning them about bad things about to happen, and he's just getting. Like, can you just imagine like you're in danger. You can't understand. It's like, oh my fucking god.
And all you see is this big figure with wings and big glowing red eyes, trying to warn you.
Yeah. Like I remember watching like this one like it was with I don't know if you know who Moist Critical is. Like I think with like Windigoon and some other person. They were doing a podcast talking about these cryptids, and we were just talking about all the stuff with the Mothman, and all they were just making these really funny scenarios about like the Mothman. It's just like because it was like this one instance to where somebody's just throwing rocks and, and everything at it. It's just like always in a bad place, and like in a bad situation, no matter what it does.
I don't see the point of throwing rocks at it, but I mean, do you, I guess?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to upset them, but I
Yeah.
guess some people don't care.
I mean, you gotta remember at the time period too. Like,
Yeah, true.
not to mention, like, there's a lot of different. Like I said, there's a lot of different sightings. There was like a lot of interesting stuff going on all at once. Like people reporting weird Men in Black, UFO sightings.
I can see why people would think he's an alien then.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, I mean, like in the most infamous sighting of him was like at the bridge, and then it collapsed.
And then I assume people thought it was him that caused the
Yeah, some people think
bridge to
he could have.
collapse.
Yeah, some people think he might have caused the bridge to collapse. Other people, he might have been like a warning for the bridge to collapse. Like, it's very
That
interesting with
could
the
be true
Mothman.
too. I can't imagine just like wandering around. Next thing you know, all Mothman, and then you have to be like cautious because you don't know what he's warning you about.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's interesting too. Like, can you just imagine, like, just going, "Oh my God, it's the Mothman," and Mothman's just like, "I'm fucking Batman, you idiot."
My God. Jesus.
God, I'm
Getting
Batman.
frustrated because you've been calling him the wrong name all these years.
God, can you just imagine like a scenario to where that actually was like, let's say it's like a interdimensional creature, because that's also another theory of what it is too. It's an interdimensional creature that came into our dimension. Can you just imagine if like that was like a interdimensional Batman?
God.
No one can understand it.
He's just
No.
looking at everything like, what? Where am I?
God. Like, but no, I just find it so interesting that they didn't name him Batman because of DC Comics. That is so hilarious.
Yeah, I don't think they want a copyright
No, they didn't.
lawsuit type thing with
No, they really
DC.
didn't. Okay, so we talked about Mothman. So, what do you think? Do you think we should talk more about Mothman, or do you think we should move on to another cryptid?
Mm, I mean, it doesn't really matter. We can talk about another one and continue.
All right, we could talk about the Blue Devil.
Blue Devil.
Now, the Blue Devil is in Fallout 76, but it looks more like a Dogman than it does the actual Blue Devil.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to look it up. And I keep getting. I actually keep getting the Fallout related.
Yeah, because actually
Blue
not much is
Devil.
really known about the Blue Devil. Like, here we go. Like, essentially, it was like a wolf that was like a very large wolf that looked blue, like a bluish dog-like creature, like larger than a pony.
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah, like
Alright.
yeah, which is it's interesting. Like, there's so many like it just interests me how Fallout is the only game I have seen introduce cryptids this way, and so many of them. However, I feel like with the Blue Devil, they made it more of a dog man.
Yeah. I searched up the Blue Devil and I got two different things. Well, technically I had three, but I got two different things. The cryptid, a mascot, and the one that's in Fallout.
Yeah, yeah. But also, there for my area, there actually is a local legend. Now, this isn't like with the Blue Devil, but this is with the Devil. You actually want to hear it?
Sure.
So the legend goes that the Devil was causing mischief and mayhem all across the area. So eventually, the townsfolk got together and captured the Devil and binded it to a rock with chains. The Devil was annoyed by this, so he decided to spin and run around the rock until he broke the chains and broke free. Apparently, you can go to this rock and like take pictures. Like, it's an actual tourist attraction here. It's not very well talked about. Not many people know. And I think they
I'm
call it
trying to
Devil's Rock.
see. Devil's Rock?
Yeah, they call it Devil's Rock. I'll see if I can find an image and actually send it to you.
Is it like a big ledge?
No, I'll actually show you.
I'm trying to find it.
Oh, it's okay. I found it already. Apparently, according to my mother, there was actually a bar named after it called Devil's Rock here at one point.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know whatever happened to the bar, but I'll actually show you what the rock looks like. This is what the quote unquote. Hope I sent a YouTube video. Didn't mean to send that. I wanted to send the fucking picture.
It's okay.
Did I click the? Oh, yes, I did. Here, I sent it to you. Or the live stream. But that's the picture of it. Which I wish I could show chat, but unfortunately,
Oh
limitation.
God.
Yeah, it's like a tourist attraction. But we need to get back to cryptids, though, because that is what we're supposed to be talking about.
I know.
All right. All right, so we talked about that. So which one would you like to? Oh, I can do
Hold
that,
on.
yeah. But no, wait, I don't want to do that because it will actually send the location of where I live.
Yeah, I don't think you want people to know that. Also, give me a second. My menace is doing things he's not supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. Take your time. We're gonna start talking about. We're gonna start talking about some other cryptids here in a moment. Probably up next will be the Wendigo, Skinwalkers, And I'm trying to think of another one. We could talk about Bigfoot too, or better known as Sasquatch. But yeah, once I get a PC, I'll be able to show you guys images easier than doing it like this. Because I really wish there was more options for me to do because I'm on console doing this, which there's nothing wrong with console streaming, but for this type of stream, it's not as fun. Plus, I may turn this into a podcast, so I'll take that time. So we're actually reaching our goal a little bit more with, me reading a live story of horror on here. We need about 150 subs to all together. And we are at 53. We're at 53. We're doing pretty good. But I think we still have a bit more to go. Also, I don't know if you guys want me to turn this into a podcast later on. In which, if I do, I kind of want to know if you guys want me to turn this into a podcast or not. I'll basically put up a poll later on. But for
I am back. I am
welcome
sorry
back.
about that.
No, take your time.
So what were you talking about while I was gone?
Oh, I was just saying that the channel's we're getting close to the goal of 150
Oh,
to do
yeah.
the live reading of creepypasta. And watch me screw up reading because for some reason when I read out loud, I fuck up.
Listen, we all have those days.
I know. But anywho, so I thought of something. So I picked 3 more that we could talk about.
Okay.
We could either talk about the Sasquatch, the most infamous cryptid. We could talk about Wendigos or Skinwalkers.
I guess skinwalkers.
Now, I find Skinwalkers to be kind of interesting because it's Native American lore. And Skinwalkers are like, I want to see which tribe it was exactly. I believe it was like Navajo.
Yeah, it's Navajo.
Yeah.
It's folklore.
Yeah. Actually, the interesting thing about Skinwalkers, I don't know if you've ever heard of flesh gates.
Mm-hmm.
They share very strong similarities between each other. Like the mimicry, shape shifting.
Well, with the, skinwalker, it's mainly known as a harmful witch who has the capability to turn into,
Yeah.
possess, or disguise themselves as an animal or another person.
Oh yeah.
And they can also imitate people and also creatures. Not to mention, the fact that they could also, I guess you could say, wear the skin of said person or creature.
Yeah, it's like a dark shaman or, as you said, witch.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting when it comes into because there's so many legends about witchcraft and all that. Like every culture seems to have some kind of form of witchcraft or shamans that turn dark. Which is
Well, I don't really try to look into a lot of it because obviously I have native
no, I get it.
stuff in my family, but it's just it is interesting to learn about, and not to mention the witch. Basically knowing it as a witch is also more of a type of thing to be with the Native American
Yeah, because apparently
folklore, if you could say.
there's like a few, from what I remember of some of it, is that you're not supposed to look them in the eyes.
No, and you're not supposed to be whistling at night either.
Yeah, or you'll hear them whistling at night, and you're not supposed to respond.
Mm-hmm. Plus, not to mention, it's like there's a lot of stuff within knowing about the skinwalker, especially because like there's also different like I guess you could say ways that they can look. Like I know the common one would probably be like a wolf, or like I know there's also the type of basically it's the skull as their
Yeah,
head, or like the big body,
yeah.
and it's just like it is not really the greatest to be witnessing, but like the thing is that there's a lot of things you shouldn't really do, and you don't want to be luring one to you because you're basically asking to be basically slaughtered,
Yeah,
if you want to do it
which
that way.
I don't know if you've ever heard this story, but there was actually a an eyewitness account by a soldier who recounted a story of a strange incident that happened while they were on patrol, and I believe this happened down in Arizona at the
I think
military
I
base.
heard of it.
And basically, they were patrolling around the perimeter, and they noticed there was a coyote on like the one side of the fence. So it's just normal. It's a coyote, and they're just talking. And then the next minute, they hear like a rustling, and then like something. It sounded like something got over the fence. So they went to go investigate it. When they go back to that section, there's an old man standing there. Like he looks like he's like senile, possibly confused, and they're trying to ask him questions, and they're like just trying to get him to respond. He won't respond. Like they won't respond to command, so they're trying to basically they got their guns pointed at him, and they're just because they don't want to kill this guy. Because what if he's like mentally not there? Like what if he's just so senile he doesn't know what's going on? So they start
Yeah.
radioing in, and they took their eyes off him for a moment, and then all of a sudden they hear another jump, and like this fence is really tall, like you can't just easily jump over this fence. There's even barbed wire on the top, and they see that the old man's now standing on the other side of the fence.
Well, it's like another thing they can like with skinwalkers, just and there's a very obvious clue is when an animal's seen. Like if you do like I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry, that's kind of off topic of what your story, but it's like I know another type of way to identify, if you want to say it that way, is if you see an animal and it seems off or acting off, and it's not acting the way an animal should. I mean, yes, there's also diseases, like example, a deer. There is times where because of a certain disease that deers can have, they could seem like they have the similar, I want to say, I can't remember what the proper word would be, but like the symptoms of one. But the thing is like if you see, I'm just going to use this as an example, but like if you see a deer standing on its hind legs, or if you see that its face is like all not really distorted, but it's like kind of like it doesn't seem right. And if it doesn't sound right, that could be another type of. But then again, I'm also going based off of things that I kind of know.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, like we won't get too much more of the topic though. However, it does bring
No.
me into the other one because the interesting thing is like since we mentioned skinwalkers, and I did say Wendigos is one of the topic. It's so interesting how
Hmm.
people correlate the two. Like they actually kind of confuse the two. It seems.
Yeah, a lot of people do, especially because, like, well, for an example, the skinwalker obviously has the word skin, so it can change. But like for a Wendigo, they're lanky, they're pale. It's basically a person, but not a person. Not to
Yeah,
mention
yeah, they're
the only way within like Native American stance, basically, if somebody who decided to do cannibalism, and they
Yeah.
keep doing it. They slowly, well, again, with the folklore of Native American info, basically, you turn into one.
Oh yeah, it's like if you indulge in that. Actually, there's been some legends I hear. It's not just cannibalism. Like there's certain circumstances. Like you have to be a very greedy person in some legends I've heard, and you either have to be a very
Mm.
greedy person and you indulge in it. The Wendigo spirit will find you and possess you. The other thing that's
Yep.
interesting to me is that how the depictions of Wendigo have like kind of gotten stranger over the time.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because like, there's so many different stories, but like, it's like it does. I'm trying to think of the word, but like, there is like, obviously, I assume from what I remember reading. I mean, obviously, I know the Wendigo is more known for being in the Canada region,
Well, he's
but
also
like,
in the the Wendigo. Well, I shouldn't say he because it could be a he or she. The Wendigo
yeah,
sightings actually. Did you know there are actually Wendigo sightings in like around the New York area too?
yeah,
Yep, because
it's
like we're
America
actually close.
and Canada
Yep,
that they
like
can be
anywhere in
seen.
the yep, like they can be seen anywhere. Like it has to be like I think cold or just forested areas. I'm not too sure.
Yep.
But what's
It's
interesting to me
usually the
is like
winter when they comes out because they're high. I think I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure, and if anybody, like, I'm sorry if I get this wrong. I'm pretty sure it's weird, but I'm pretty sure they like, yes, they hunt. Well, I'm gonna say the word hunt because I don't really know what the proper term would be. But like, usually, yes, in the woods, but mostly I think they're more quote unquote active, if you want to say, during the winter, since it's more of like a survival instinct, if you want to say.
yeah. But I want to get into like the appearance of them, which is it's interesting how they've changed, like from because it seems like more modern stories of Wendigo kind of blend them more with beast than what they are actually depicted as in the folklore. Because it's like it's weird because they give them like either a moose head or like wearing a moose skull, have like antlers, like really large.
Yeah, basically, there's one particular, like, there's one appearance where it's like a human who has been basically starving and is
Well,
very pale, but then there's the one where it's like almost animalistic.
yeah, which the one that's animalistic is pure like I guess artist interpretation because it's not what's the folklore because the one that looks more pale, gaunt, thin because actually Fallout 76 is like the most excuse me most accurate description of the window
Yeah.
like because their skin's supposed to get so tight around the bone like their bones literally show through their skin. That is
Hmm.
how like just because it's supposed to represent that they're starving all the time they can't satiate the hunger because it's like an
Well,
endless
that's,
hunger they feel.
yeah, and that's why another reason why I said, like, they mainly hunt during the winter, and not to mention, it's like because of the cannibalism, they're always hungry. No matter if they eat like one person or possibly, I'll just say this as an example, 10, they're always hungry because they always have that feeling.
Yeah, it's one of those things but I just find it interesting that it's just like the like artist interpretation of a Wendigo which I feel like it just kind of became more of a on a whim let's just change how it looks kind of style versus what is actually depicted because I think Fallout 76 and the other game, which is like, oh crap, I can't remember what it is, but it's like the horror anthology one. I think you know what I'm talking about. Where it has like
Yeah.
the Until Dawn. Until Dawn, there we go. Like until it's like Until Dawn. Like they have that, which is very. Like those are like the only two games or any source of media that I've ever seen them depict the Wendigo accurately. But it's just so interesting that they they decided. I don't even know why, because it's like, because then it's just start. They can do mimicry. They can't do mimicry. I've heard some legends to where the only way to actually properly kill a Wendigo is to pull out its heart and burn the heart, and then
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you have to purify the ashes afterwards, or if it's just you burn the heart. Like, I don't
I'm
remember.
pretty sure. I'm trying to remember. I think you do have to purify it, but I can't really remember. I need to see.
Like, but I do think we're gonna move on to Sasquatch, the big feats. Now, I know this one is like the most famous cryptid, which I think it really started the whole enthusiasm of cryptid zoology. Is Bigfoot, because he's like seen every fucking where, but yet there's really no evidence of him.
I don't mean to go off topic, but from what I'm reading about the Wendigo, and I know we just finished it, but apparently you have to burn complete remains for it
Okay.
to, so it doesn't come back.
Yeah. Yeah, which is pretty, like I said, like I find this stuff fascinating. But with Sasquatch, everybody's seen Sasquatch. Like Sasquatch just seems like it's like he's just the freaking mascot of cryptozoology. Like, I mean, there's so many commercials. Like, I know the beef jerky commercial with Sasquatch was usually funny. They made a movie with Sasquatch, like being part of the family. I don't know. Like, there's just so much Bigfoot like merchandise. It's just it's almost
Yeah.
interesting to hear like because but there's been sightings of Bigfoot for a very long time as well.
Well, I
Like they
mean,
even
there's
have.
books written about the Sasquatch or Bigfoot. There's,
Oh yeah.
like
Well
you said, movies.
they even shown Native American like paintings of a tall like figure that almost kind of resembles what a Sasquatch would look like,
Hmm.
which is very interesting to me. Like now, does that mean that these things exist? Probably not. You need a little bit more scientific evidence to prove something
Yeah.
exists. I just find them interesting to talk about, and I think Bigfoot's like the most hilarious one to talk about.
Well, I mean, he's also the, as you said, mascot. Not to mention, like, this has been, I want to say the most, well, obviously popular and also oldest, maybe?
Well, I wouldn't say oldest, but it's been around for a long, long time. It's just I think like a lot of these cryptids are well, a lot of them come from legends, and a lot of them are old. But I think just Bigfoot's the most popular because it's just everybody talks about. Like I've heard so many theories about Bigfoot just being super intelligent and that's why we never catch him. Just imagine like Bigfoot is like so intelligent. He just like made himself a little house that's underground. No way to detect it. He's just sitting there. Here's some campers up there. He's just reading his book with his glasses, just going, "These motherfuckers."
Well,
I'm
that's
a
like another. It's like, it's just, there's so many. Like, I remember watching something and people were like, oh, it could be a man just wearing, like,
a ghillie suit,
a
yeah,
fursuit, yeah,
a ghillie
or it
suit or
could
fur.
actually be the actual thing. But I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sorry, but who in their right mind would be wearing a big fursuit running around in the woods?
Look, don't ask that question because that's gonna open up a lot of doors you don't want to know. I mean, there are a lot
Listen,
of
I already
furries
asked
out.
the
There is a
question.
lot of furries out there that do weird
Okay,
things. Okay.
listen. I'm not talking about that community. I don't want to talk about that community, but all I know is that it's pretty odd, especially with old footage. Why would a person be wandering around like that, especially in the summer, within a fur suit, dying of heat? Nuh-uh.
You're talking about the classic clip of just the Bigfoot footage, like the original clip, like the
Yeah.
first, like I guess recording of it. Oh, that video's been like studied to death. Hold on, like I'm just reading chat real quick. Hold on.
Yeah. I was also gonna mention something, but I'll wait for you to finish.
I mean, that would be an amusing idea night, but I don't know. That might lead to some problems there. But yeah, that's a good way to get shot, depending on
What
where
did
you
Knight
go.
say anyway?
Oh, just we should go to some random village in ghillie suits, create our own folklore.
Yeah.
That's a good. That
One
just
way to
remind.
get shot, alright.
That reminds me of this funny meme. I gotta find it, see if I still have it or if I gotta re-download it. But it's just this meme of like how to mess with your neighbors. It's literally a boot that basically has like these large paw prints that make it look like a bipedal, like upright wolf is walking around.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to mention this, but in my town, I'm not going to say where because people are fucking weird. In my town, at a store, there is a hunting area in the store. There's actually, now obviously, we don't know if this is actually what Sasquatch or Bigfoot looks like, but literally there is a, I want to say, 7 or 8 feet tall replica of him in a glass case. And it's so weird to see, especially like, obviously, if, like, let's say, because I know we do get like tourists here, so like just imagine going into a store and
I,
just wandering around and that's
look,
all you see in a
look.
glass
I don't
case.
have to imagine. I've seen things like that before. Like I'm not surprised. I mean, it draws in customers. Let's be honest.
That is true.
Like, but yeah, I remember like Discovery Channel when they were doing their whole, and I think they still kind of do this whole weird cryptid phase, to where they're talking about crypto, like cryptids, and like, oh, I remember so many people were mad at Discovery Channel because they had all these shows about cryptids, and that they did like, they kind of made them look like documentaries, but they actually did some actual interviews to where it was like they were talking to people. Especially they interviewed the one guy who originally did like, because I don't remember how long ago this was, but they interviewed the person who was a part of that whole thing. He says he regrets ever showing that footage to the world because he has been harassed nonstop ever since.
I think I've heard of like that little bit of the story.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of these people who see these type of things, they don't actually go public with them for good reason because they're gonna get ridiculed and called freaking insane. I mean, especially if you're not even sure what you saw, because like there's so it's so easy to misidentify a creature, but it's also so easy to you know just you see something that you just don't understand and you don't want to talk about it because like are they gonna think I'm freaking crazy? It's
Also,
like
I just sent you the picture. I don't mean to interrupt.
no, you're fine. I'll take a look. But oh yeah, yeah. I've seen things like that. It's interesting though. Like literally, Bigfoot looks. Actually, it's kind of funny how the feet look. It just reminds me of the Hobbit. Like it
Oh my
literally
god.
it reminds me of the Hobbit. But I remember when they were doing these documentaries of Bigfoot, they literally brought in an actual guy. He's actually renowned for study of like large apes and primates. And he said
Mhm.
that what he said was very interesting because he said that if let's say a gorilla or a large ape did get loose, there's actually a lot of food sources for them in the U.S. They would actually be able to survive here.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, which is it's interesting because I mean it could even be like I said misidentification. It could be a lot of things. Or it could be, like I said, like it's an extremely, incredibly smart creature that just is tired of human bullshit. Just
I
I
mean,
just
I'm tired of human bullshit, so I don't blame him.
I know I don't blame it either. Like just Sasquatch sitting there minding his own business, and then these people go like, "Oh man, I better go harass those campers. They're on my fucking property." Yeah, but yeah, there's like so many people who have reported seeing sightings, and it's one of those fascinating things too, to where it's like you don't actually know because so many people are reporting the same thing. It's like it's really weird, but all at the same time, they're also not trying to get fame off of it. But then again, people sometimes get very bored and they fake sightings. I remember there was this guy who tried to, like, I guess, pretend he killed the Sasquatch or something.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd never heard of that until now.
Oh yeah. There's a bunch of people who like fake it. It's like the guy who faked, who also had a fake corpse of the quote unquote chupacabra, but refused to let people actually test it for DNA evidence. Because that's another interesting cryptid too. Is like chupacabra.
Yeah.
Because it's
People
weird.
do anything for attention.
Yeah, I mean, like they really do. But when it comes to cryptids, and this is what the part that really gets sad about it, though, especially now, like you'll see this even with paranormal fields. It's like everybody's trying to fake it for entertainment. So it's like you have actual people who are going out there trying to actually see if these things are real or if there's actual any evidence towards it, and then you have a bunch of people who are faking it at the same time because like cryptid zoology and paranormal investigations are so they're not even actually being investigated or taken seriously by scientists because there's so many people trying to make it into a hoax. So it's like you can't even investigate it even if you wanted to because they're just going to be like, yeah, this don't exist.
Doesn't surprise me.
Well, it doesn't surprise me either. I mean, it's one of the sad realities we kind of live in nowadays to where it's just everybody's so, you know, obsessed with making, content and like showing these paranormal things.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to link like paranormal and cryptid kind of together. Because that's kind of where it
Yeah.
kind of goes into. And I feel like with the whole chupacabra thing, which chupacabra is like interesting too, because it's like a goat. Like, cause there's some descriptions of the chupacabra being more like a reptilian-like creature. And
Yeah, I
then,
know
especially
that
recently,
one.
and then there's recently been a lot of, I guess, quote unquote sightings of it being more like a coyote-like creature, which a lot of people are
Oh?
speculating. Yeah, that's like hairless, because there's been like this whole weird thing of this. Like, I see this weird dog. It's gotta be a chupacabra. It literally, to me, like this one person's quote unquote supposedly shot it, but it literally looks like a coyote that has a bad case of mange.
Yeah, that. See, people, like, I don't know. I guess some people can be crazy enough to think they actually did kill said creature, which I mean, people these days
I mean, it's
always
like,
crazy.
well, I mean, there's been crazy people for a long, long time, but I mean, like, there's a lot of just interesting cases to where it's just like it's either misidentification or it's like, man, that's a chupacabra. I'm gonna shoot it. Like, I don't know if you ever heard of the show Mountain Monsters. Have you ever heard of that show? Gladys?
What was it that you said?
I asked, have you ever heard of the show called Mountain Monsters?
Mountain monsters. Doesn't sound familiar.
All right, I want you to picture this. Picture a bunch of redneck hillbilly people
God.
hunting monsters. And this was shared on Discovery Channel. And they would like shoot wildly into the air, like we got away, but I think we got him good.
I'm. You know what? I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say because I know there's gonna be people commenting. I'm just gonna zip. I'm not even gonna say what I was going to
I
say.
mean, they even had this whole like you could tell the whole thing was fake.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the
100%.
whole thing was fake. Because they even had like a point where it's like they had other rival hunters trying to get to him. Oh my god!
Sure, buddy, sure. I
Yeah.
think you might
Oh
fix
yeah,
the,
yeah. But this is why like the whole field of cryptozoology and paranormal investigation is like looked at as like a laughable thing or a joke is because of that. Because it's used for entertainment. It's used to basically create entertainment. Because
Sorry about that.
no, it's fine. Also,
I was
like
muted for a second.
yeah, it's like with my like because growing because I could tell some ghost stories too because I mean like it kind of goes into the whole paranormal cryptid things or we can keep it down to cryptid. Would you like me to talk about some paranormal stuff?
I mean, it doesn't matter. It is your video.
All right, well we'll go into some paranormal stuff real quick because since we brought up paranormal, like this isn't exactly my story. This is my mother's story. My mother
Okay.
told me about when she lived in a haunted house and she told me about how there were days to where the sky would rain down rocks. They would come home to drawers just being completely ransacked and pulled out, like everything all over the place, and nobody was home.
That's odd. I've
Yeah,
never heard of like rocks raining, but that's really odd.
yeah. Like my mother talks about it all the time with me. Like I've talked with her about it a few times, and like this is her story, not mine. Like
Mm-hmm.
she would tell me that she would hear voices like she thought her brother or her dad were calling her and it wasn't.
Jeez.
Like I know at one point they moved out of that house and she told me that the house burnt down.
Oh God, I guess it's a good thing they got out.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, and nobody's ever built another house again actually.
Well, I
There,
mean,
like it's actually still barren to this day. And then like I have some ghost stories too because I've had some
mm-hmm.
weird stuff happen. I won't go into every single one. I'll just go into the more lighthearted ones since we're on stream. Like I remember when I lived in a like me, my dad, my sister, my mom, we all lived in this one house. This was back before, I was a kid. I want to say I was like 8 or 9 years old and like there was a lot of weird stuff that happened in this house that we lived in, especially after because we were going through the basement. And this basement, it had like a big area. It had like a little bar section. It had like a fireplace. It was a nice basement. It had like a storage area. We went into the back and there was some stuff down there, but we ended up finding some really weird things. Like we found a bamboo cane that was hidden in the ceiling. Like my dad found it. Yeah. My father found it and I remember he threw it out. And then we started having really weird things start to happen. Like things would end up going missing in other spots. Now, which could be, maybe we misplaced it, maybe not. I remember
Mm-hmm.
my sister, she had a bunch of baby dolls. And there was a baby doll that was down there and it started to cry for hours without batteries. It would just cry and not stop, like nonstop, wouldn't turn off. It would do this for weeks.
And this is why I do not like baby dolls.
Yeah.
Especially since my niece has
I,
like
I,
5 of them.
oh, I know.
Christ.
I know. I think I saw a few shadows here and there. I've always seen things growing up, and I would see things. I have a lot of stories about that, but then there was always this just weird vibe when you walked into the house. You felt like you were being watched, especially at night, like something was watching you.
Yeah,
And then it
I can
goes
understand that feeling.
and then it goes to my mom because I remember my mom telling me that she would be fully asleep and she was woken up and she thought she heard my dad calling her name. But dad was in the bed with her right next door.
Something was trying to lure her.
Yeah. Like I said, there was a lot of weird stuff that happened in that house. Um, like, it's weird because it's like me and my mother seem to have a lot of weird paranormal experiences. I don't know too much about my sister because I mean I've never really talked to her about it. Like my sister though, when she was young, she would play with fire according to the paranormal community and spiritual because she used to play with those Ouija boards.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Wonderful thing to be playing with. Oh, God. Don't even know what you're contacting.
Yeah, like that's like the hello. My name is my name Beelzebub. But all jokes aside, I know there was another creepy experience that I had when I was, well, this is going to be a little sad. I won't go into full detail, but I was kind of living on my own in my teens. I didn't have anybody, so I was kind of abandoned. And I lived in this trailer house at the time. There was a lot of weird things that happened at that place. Like, I'll just say this: there was like a lot of bad things. Like during the winter, the pipes would freeze. I wouldn't have water. Um, wouldn't have proper heat. Or I remember there was times where I would swear I would hear somebody. I would feel like I'm being touched. I would hear knocking at random points, and I lived out in the middle of nowhere. Like the only thing next to me was another trailer house with people I know that weren't even awake at that hour. Because you would be able to see them because like it's a clear shot, and there was like this abandoned church across the road
God.
in a cornfield.
Yeah, no wonder anything could be
Yeah, yeah,
around there.
yeah. It was like, and then there was like a then towards like south of the house, towards like if you go down the road. If I'm remembering this right, because I know there was a reservation not too far off from there. Like I think it was like 30-minute drive to a reservation. But we had some land too there, and then I was just kind of left there to my own devices for a very long time, like 2 years of this. I remember being out in those woods was kind of creepy because there was so many toys that were just abandoned. Like you would see baby dolls shot up. Like there's just so much junk out in that woods, like toys and. Because I remember one night. I don't remember this because I remember it was me and just my dog at the time because I ended up getting a dog, because I was needing a companion. My mother was coming by to see how we are doing. Like we were kind of trying to patch up a relationship during that time because me and her didn't have the best relationship. But I remember there was this time where my dog, his name was Blade, and he was a puppy, and he would stare up and watch the door. And I always thought I saw like a silhouette standing there. It always looked feminine. And I remember when I moved out for several years, because I would always have these nightmares. Like I would always have like these different nightmares that would rotate, but then I would always have this weird one about that trailer. I always have this weird dream about I was always for some reason I always said I need to go home. I need to go back home, and I would always end up back there. And there was always like this, I guess, this person waiting for me there.
Hmm.
like I could never see them, but I always would feel that they were there. And I
I remember
remember,
you telling me some parts of this.
yeah. I don't know. I didn't really grow up in a horror movie, but it's like I said, I've had a lot of paranormal stuff that happened, or stuff I just really can't explain, is the better term, because it's just always weird. And I would always have these nightmares about it. Like, even when I moved out of my mother's and her boyfriend's place after I graduated and got through some stuff, I eventually moved into my own apartment, and I would still have these dreams about going back there. Like I remember the dreams would always start off so weird. Like I remember I was just for some reason talking about, oh, I'm gonna need to go home for a while and not be in my apartment. I gotta go back home for some reason. And it's just like, why do I gotta go back home? Like what is going on? Because I remember I started having like these lucid type of dream effects. I don't remember one night. I remember I was having the dream of just it being. I was like, okay, this is just so weird. Why am I back here? I don't live here anymore. I haven't lived in this place in years. And I remember hearing like this woman's voice say, he's aware now. He shouldn't be aware of this. It was such a weird dream. And I remember, like, the end of the dream, the house burnt down after I became aware. And I'd never had the dream since.
I don't think you've told me about that dream, but
Yeah, like,
there's.
I have other dreams that I don't talk about because they're a little bit
I
more
know.
disturbing, but I've had them for a very long time. Especially the one dream that I have over and over again. It kind of happened at, like, from what I remember, it started in my early childhood
Mhm.
with that one experience I told you about. I don't know if I want to tell that story too much because, like I said, it's very hazy.
You don't have to tell it if you don't want to. I
No,
mean,
it's fine.
it is a stream, and obviously it is personal
Yeah,
stuff
like
for certain things that you've
maybe at some point,
experienced.
maybe at some point I'll tell the story, but it does bother me a little bit because I was very young and it's not exactly a happy story. I would say is good for stream, but maybe someday I'll tell this story on live or in a video if people are interested in hearing it. But I'll tell another story that's not so dark because this was also took place in my apartment, or I'd say the first apartment I had. Now I was dating this girl at the time. She was sleeping. She was sleeping in the bedroom. I was out in the living room. I was gaming. I don't remember what game. I think I was actually playing Monster Hunter World when it. I think it was either Monster Hunter or GT. I can't remember what game I was playing, but she was asleep in the bedroom. I was playing the video game. We just got Klondike. Klondike was like just. She was going into that whole big. She went from kitten to now she's starting to get into a full grown adult kitty phase. I remember she was just laying and sitting on her cat tree, and then all of a sudden, because I could see her in the corner of my eye, I see that she suddenly jerked up and she was looking at the doorway. And I'm like thinking, okay, I'll take a look. So I look over, and I see this, I want to say this shadowy silhouette that had to have been around 7 to maybe 8 feet tall, staring at me from the bedroom. I could literally see like the silhouette of a hand and the head. And like the moment I looked at it, it looked at me for a moment and then crept back. And I was like, am I hallucinating? What the fuck did I just see? And I got up because when it did that, it retreated into the bedroom. Klondike sprung up and started to look for it. And I went into the bedroom because I was confused. I'm like, what the hell did I just see? I don't know if I was hallucinating because I was tired. I don't know, but I just saw like I said, I just saw some weird shit. But then again, I always see a lot of weird shit that I just don't talk about.
Yeah.
Like,
I
cause
know
there's
you've
even
told me some stories. I've
yeah
told you some of my stories too.
yeah. Like I'm just telling this because but there is like one more story I'm willing to tell, and that is actually took place in the current apartment that I live in now, and it was a little after we first moved in here, and this has nothing to do with the other stories I've told because this was just it was about me, and I was laying in the bed because I was trying to rest because I think it was like my day off, and I just didn't get a lot of sleep because we were just moving in. We got everything in. I think it was like the third third night of us being in this apartment, so I wanted to get some sleep. And I remember kind of nodding off. You ever had those moments to where you start waking up and you start, like you feel like you're gonna have a sleep paralysis moment?
Yeah.
Now I don't get sleep paralysis. I had like a fit of sleep paralysis before. However, that's a
Hmm.
weird. I'll tell that story quick before I tell the rest of this. But when I was in my first apartment, I would have like these weird dreams where I would start to wake up and I feel like my body was heavy. I couldn't move, and I would always see like this thing kind of descending down to me, and then I would just pass back out. Like this happened for several nights, and it wouldn't happen like all the time. It would happen like some of the time. And I
Hmm.
remember always feeling annoyed and angry. And then like I remember it happened to me again, and at one point it was like I was just sleeping in the bed. And I don't know if I was dreaming this or like I was so like I was half awake, half asleep. I don't remember being so annoyed and getting so angry. I was just, you know what? I can't move. I'm going to try to punch whatever's on top of me right now. I remember swinging my fist, and I don't know if it's because I was half asleep and I was partially dreaming, but I felt like my fist connected to something, and I remember hearing it crash into the wall and something falling over, and then it running out of the room.
It's the first time you've told me about that story, but jeez. I mean, it could have been anything.
Like I said,
Like,
I could have been a half
then,
asleep. I was half asleep. I have no idea if I
yeah.
dreamt that or what. It was just weird, but I just find it funny. I was like, you know what? Fuck off, ghost! Just punch you in the face.
Oh my god. Just like, you know what? I have enough of this. Fucking punted across the room.
Yeah. But with this other story, and I'm going back to that, because ever since then, I've never had sleep paralysis again. Like, I've always been able to move when I start feeling it, ever since then. And I remember I was starting to nod off, and I was like sleeping on the one side. It's towards the window and towards the vent that's on the floor. And I remember I kind of started waking up, and I saw this. I want to say it kind of had long hair. I remember seeing it fully the way I would describe it as it looked like a person's face with more animal-like features. And it was snarling at me as I was waking up. And I remember because it was snarling at me, trying to look, I guess, intimidating. And then the moment I sat up, it went from being angry to confused. And you know how animals will tilt their head when they're confused?
Yeah.
It did that, and then it faded away.
It's interesting.
Like I said, I don't know if I was dreaming it because I was half asleep,
Hmm.
but it's a weird thing. Like I said, I got a lot of stories that I don't talk about.
Yeah, I know you've told me a bunch of them before. Like I've
Yeah,
said already, but still.
yeah, it's just more of those whole paranormal experiences, which kind of tie into cryptids, honestly. Because I mean, you can kind of like they kind of go in the same field, which is
Yeah.
interesting to say. But I think the worst part about having these type of experiences is I try not to give it any real ground because like I said, it could have been very well I was half asleep and I was just dreaming this shit.
Yeah, it could have been.
Like
But you mean, you never know.
yeah. I never do know, but it's like I said, it was such a weird thing to happen. And I don't think I've ever had any sleep paralysis ever since then. And it was weird because when I saw that thing, cause I was feeling like it was trying to put me, because I even felt the whole body being heavy, starting to feel numb. It was almost like
The normal
the moment
symptoms of
yeah,
it.
yeah, but I think the moment I moved, it got confused because I felt like the moment I moved, I felt that paralyzing kind of feeling kind of fade away. Which this is just from what I remember. Like I said, this could have been just a dream too, if I was
Mm-hmm.
half asleep. However, I remember my my ex or GF at the time. She literally told me she thought she saw something hanging out in the closet, hunched over.
Lovely. Wonderful thing to wake up to.
Yeah. I remember because like I said, she would like there was times where I swear she was also acting like I've told you some of the stuff she's done and some of the weird shit. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I remember there was a day to where I was talking with her and she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
remember any of this, mind you. And we were talking and she goes, "You know, you're the king of lies." I go, "What are you talking about?" "You know, you're Belial, the king of lies." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then she pretended like she didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. It was just weird. Like I said, I've had a lot of weird situations and weird things go on in my life. But I'm just seeing what time it is right now. We've been nearly going 2 hours. So, do you want to add any more cryptids to it, or do you think because it's starting to get cold in my apartment, I'm gonna have to turn back on the heat here soon, anyways. So, what do you think? You think we're ready to wrap this up, or do you want to keep talking a little bit more? Or I could be just talking to myself. I'm alone, chat. She might be dealing with something real quick, so I guess we'll get ready to start wrapping this up here. So, if you guys liked today's stream, please give it a like. If you guys want to see more of this content, let me know in the comments down below. Would you guys like me to turn this into a podcast for you to listen to later?
I am sorry.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. I'm just gonna get ready to wrap this up, anyways. But yeah, I think it's time to wrap this up. Like I said, let me know if you want this to be into a podcast once it becomes a video format. Let me know. Give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Share me around if you want to know if you want people to see if they're interested in my content as well. Also, subscribe if you want to see more of my stuff. And I do have a link to buy me a coffee in my YouTube description, which you don't have to. It's all donation. You don't have to do any of that. It's only if you want to support me and help me grow a little bit, but it's not mandatory at all. Just donation based. And I will see you guys in the next either live stream or video. Hopefully, a new video will be coming up. It's going to be 7 days related. But I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for so much for hanging out with us. And thank you again, Cloudy, for joining me.
No problem. You know I'm always here to join.
Yep. Eventually, we're going to try to find more guests to put onto the Vilecast to have more conversations with. Also, that's one more thing I wanted to touch up on before I end. I do want to know if you guys actually like Vilecasts, if you guys are interested in me doing more stuff like this, or turning this into a podcast. But for now, it's going to stay the way it is, because I want this to get a little bit more popular, or I want to see if people actually want to engage with this more. If you guys liked it, just let me know. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you either in the next stream, video, or whenever I'm live. Take care.